This week on the show, Rolling Solo, I'm going to take a look at some words. Yeah, and the power of the words that you say and how people react to said words. You don't want to miss this conversation. Oh, and then there's also some pretty clever marketing that we saw out there. Check it out. What is happening, everybody? This is Everyday People Doing Everyday Shit. I am at Pruitt, your host, sitting here riding solo tonight without the one and only Queen Pruitt, also known as Phoebe Pruitt. She's sitting over there at her desk doing whatever she needs to do and not feeling like being on these mics tonight. Fine. Cool. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm unbelievable as always. It's a Wednesday afternoon. It's been a little bit slow and mild, and I gotta tell you, quite honestly, I've been dragging a little bit and woke up this morning and just felt like, good Lord, I can't move. And it wasn't like I was achy, it was just exhausted, just tired, and I don't even know why, but I'm hoping I can shake that off, because this is sort of weird feeling this way, but yeah, anyway, this show right here, this podcast, we like to get together on these mics each and every week and bring you just regular everyday people content. I'm not an A-list celebrity. I don't intend on being one anytime soon. But I feel like we need more content out here on all these airwaves that can relate to regular everyday people, just like myself, just like you that's listening. We stream live on YouTube as well as we record this here thing. So if you're in the YouTube live stream right now, please go ahead and hit the little thumbs up icon and the like, share, and all of that good stuff. I appreciate y'all being there. And I got some folks in the live chat right now hanging out with us. We got John Helm in here. We got Iggy in here. We got Ozone Nightmare in here. Thank y'all for being here. John Helm says he wore me out. Dude, come on. Not even close. Yeah, for those that don't know, if you're a member of the Patreon community, you know that John Helm was here for a visit this past weekend for the last couple of days, and it was great for him to hang out and just be us, just be regular people, man. Had a damn good time. And I see super chats coming in, but before we do that, I do want to acknowledge that previously, before the show started, like damn near almost 2 hours before the show started, a super chat from Iggy came in for $10. So I want to say thank you for said super chat. And also got another one that just come in now from John Helm for $4.99 or $5. I don't know how YouTube does that, but thank you, brother, for your super chat as well. New sound effect for y'all folks. But thank y'all. That is one way to support the show. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive into a few topics while I'm on these mics. I'm not going to keep y'all for the full hour like we normally do, since it's just me. Couple things here. So let me switch my screen. Maybe I can share my screen with you. Scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Since Iggy's here, I want to do this first. So she previously mentioned gave the $10 super chat before the show. And that's not the first time she's done that. She's done that several times before the show even goes on air. So thank you for that. But I was talking about being achy and so forth. And one of the ways that I take care of dealing with aches and pains is just to try to make sure to do plenty of walking and plenty of stretching and things like that. Well, in the community, Miss Iggy shared a YouTube channel with me that happens to be her cousin. So let me see if I can switch my screen to show you that. So I do that. There it is there. Yeah, this is Iggy's cousin, Yoga with Dayna. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. And what I dig about this channel is these are yoga sessions, but they're at like 10-minute clips, 10 minutes at a time. This isn't a full hour. This is, I think that there may be one half-hour session in there. Yeah, there's one half-hour session and there's 1 hour session. But most of them in here are 10 minutes at a time or so. And I think that's great for people that just want to get a little bit of a, like a picky up and a quick boost to shake the lead off and shake the rust off a little bit. And go ahead and check her out. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to her YouTube channel. Right now, she's got 72 subscribers. So let's go ahead and boost that subscriber number up if you don't mind. And if you're interested in doing some yoga, this is a good channel to do so if your medical professional approves. So, don't go out there doing yoga if your doctor says you don't need to be doing that shit. But yeah, check this out. So that is Yoga with Dayna over there in these internet. So thank you again, Miss Iggy, for recommending that. It has been a nice resource in addition to the other yoga stuff that I have here in the home. Next thing I wanted to bring up. This came up in I think it was one of my LinkedIn posts or something not too long ago, but it was the power of words. And I can't show this screen because it's private, but I got a message from someone recently, and I don't know if it was LinkedIn or what, but I got a message from somebody. It's on one of these platforms, and there's someone I know, someone that I appreciate and respect. And the message was along the lines of, hey, appreciate you sharing the content that you put out, because, you're shooting you capturing these photographs and so forth. I appreciate you journaling it and sharing it with us out here in the world. But can you please, watch how you word said post, if you will. And that was paraphrasing what they said. Okay, basically. So the contention that they had with my post in particular, it was just some of the words that I have in there. And so let me pull up one of my recent ones and just read to you the caption of it. If I scroll to Instagram, because here we go. All right. So one that I did 2 weeks ago of a volleyball game. This is, if you look over here on the right hand side in the caption, it says Windsor versus Cardinal Newman volleyball images are published in Max Preps. Oh, no, that ain't it. That's not it. Hold on. There was one similar to that. And scroll down. Maybe it's this one. There we go. This one. Petaluma versus Casa Grande baseball images I captured publishing to Max Preps. Thanks a lot for the request and support of photographers. Okay, so that's one. And here's another one. Girls 100-meter hurdles images I captured from the Viking Invitational track meet are now published in Max Preps. Thanks for the requests and orders for supporting creators like me. Okay. Are you all seeing a theme here? Let's go down to another one, even older. Let's try this one. That one is not the same. Wow, I've been busy. I've been busy, apparently. Here's one. Maria Carrillo baseball images. Okay, anyway, the gist was they didn't care for how I would say images I captured, and it bugged them because of the way things are in this world. Some people, and that's not the first time I've heard that. Some people would say you should not go out there and say that you shot images out there, or you shouldn't say I'm going for a photo shoot, things like that. And like right here, this says high jump images I captured from the Viking Invitational meet. And what they don't like is the word shoot and captured. Okay. Because everything that's going on nowadays, society wise, you got people out here being kidnapped and things like that. Captured. You have these mass shootings and stuff going on. It seems like once a month here in the United States. Shot, So those are triggering words for people. And for those that are affected, I totally get that it can be a triggering word. The rebuttal or my contention with them having contention with me is I'm a professional photographer. This is what I do. And so I explained to the person that I know, love, and respect. I said, look, I'm a photographer And thank you for your words, because I actually respect and dig what you say and think and what have you. There's a relationship there. But I'm a photographer. So if I hold up a camera, be it my smartphone or any other camera, there's an image sensor on there. And the way a photograph is created is light is captured into the photosites on an image sensor. They're literally captured to create the image. So I am doing exactly what the camera is. I'm saying exactly what the camera is doing to create the art that I create, and I don't know if they were cool with that or understood that, but that's fine. We can agree to disagree. But I just wanted to bring it up to you all because I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And I also wanted to discuss it with her, but she ain't here. So that'll be another time. So let's see. I'm seeing in the live chat from John, he says, I'm not sure I agree with that logic about triggering words. There could be many different words that could be triggering for many different types of people. Yeah, there are. And he says we can't tiptoe around. Yeah, and I get that. Look here. I know I am not the most sensitive person out there. I know that. And I do try to be empathetic with people as best I can. And there's some things that, that I'm going to stumble on and whatnot because it doesn't necessarily bother me. And like I said at the very beginning of this, saying that I went out and shot some images for someone that has been affected recently by a mass shooting or what have you, I could see why the word shot stands out more in that sentence than anything. I could see why. But, I don't. Again, I'm a photographer. That's what I do. I go out and I shoot photographs. I go out and I capture photographs. Iggy in the live chat says, I do not think I will worry about it too much. If you want it, you could use synonyms to change up what you are conveying. All right. And then there's a super chat that comes in from Joe Esposito, my man. Thank you so much. $20 super chat. Appreciate that. He says, I understand how speech has impact, but there's so much negativity around. If I can make even a small effort to avoid that, I do it. I also think intent matters. If people are honestly, we should all understand that as well. And yeah, so that's the thing. That's the key right there is intent. And if you also go through some of my posts and historically, I usually will put a emoticon. I'll put a camera emoticon in there somewhere, or say pretty direct that I am capturing images. I use that word in there somewhere, or I'll say photographs in there. I try to be very, very clear that I'm not out here in these streets with the AR-15. I'm not out here in these streets with the 9mm. I'm out there packing a 70 to 200 on a 40 megapixel full frame sensor. That's what I'm shooting with. You know what I'm saying? And I try to be very, very clear about that, but still, you ain't gonna be able to please everybody, So like I said, I've heard that more than once from people through messages and so forth. And I've ended up ignoring 90% of them. This one I didn't ignore because this is from someone that I know and I respect. And, I got history with said person. You know what I'm saying? But I know I'm not going to be able to please everybody. Just wanted to share that with you all. Thank y'all for being here. And I love seeing the conversation amongst everyone in the chat. Thank y'all for that so daggone much. This is Everyday People Doing Everyday Shit. I am Ant Pruitt hanging out here on these mics. I want to pause 1 second for a good old commercial break because that is one bit of revenue because, yes, I'm on these mics talking and goofing off, but this is still my business. So y'all pause with me for a second. Stay right there. We'll be right back after this. And we're back. Everyday people doing everyday shit. Live chat still popping over there. John Helm says, Jared Poland has a shirt that says, I shoot raw. Yeah, I know Jared Poland. And he is a damn good photographer and a super popular YouTuber. I don't watch his stuff too much now. But yeah, that t-shirt he wears says, I shoot raw. But raw is in the bigger font size, if you will. But I wonder if he gets a lot of those messages about the word SHOOT. I have no idea. Now, before we move on to the next thing in my head, I wanted to take a few minutes to thank our wonderful Patreon community. So let me go ahead and hit this button right here. As you can see, that list grew. We got a new member there. We got Michael Westbay joined us this month. So thank you, Michael Westbay, for your joining of the community and being a part of the paid members. So this is, I don't know how many that is on the screen. We got Mike, we got Matt, we got Jason Heiner, we got John Helm, we got Leo, we got Logan, we got Finn, we got Joe Catskill, we got Rich, Tanya, Clarence, Christopher, 74 Hobbs, Butch, Photo Walks TV, Malika. I mean, that list goes on, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. If you are interested in joining the Patreon community, feel free to hop on in there. You can join the Patreon community for free, actually. But if you'd like to contribute, we have 2 different tiers there that you can join in and be a paid member. But I totally have no problem if you want to pop in and join the community for free as well. So just go to patreon.com/Aunt Pruitt. And thank you so much for the support. Now, before we get out of here, let me grab one more thing that I wanted to talk about. Scroll down. Heck, I might as well bring this up because she's up in here, Iggy. So Iggy, I might as well say the title of the show is Iggy's here. So I'm gonna put that down now. So let me see if I can share my screen. Hit this button here. There. All right. So Iggy sent me a message recently, and it's a link to LinkedIn. It's a post to LinkedIn. Okay. And I loved it. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Plus. There we go. And I can't pronounce this person's name, but it looks like Shichi Mishra. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. The AI guy. How about that? That says it even better. But they say most people only search for jobs on LinkedIn. That's a huge mistake. And I 100% agree right there, because what I've been seeing with LinkedIn is a lot of spam jobs coming my way. You know, I've been checking for the last 2+ years, and yeah, it's been a lot of spam. So yeah, I do agree that that's a huge mistake. You need to check a bunch of different places. But it goes on, there are dozens of better platforms that can help you and land high-paying remote jobs. Here are 15 websites that pay in USD for remote work. And they list off 15 different things here. And it is, I dug into them a little bit, and these are quite interesting. It doesn't look like it's all clickbaity. It looks like something that is fairly useful, regardless of the type of field that you're interested in. Now, granted, there's some things here that is like AI related, you know, if you're interested in that. I'm not so sure about that one. You know, that whole AI prompt writer stuff, that fad seemed to die pretty quickly. I mean, unless you're doing some type of data science or what have you, then yeah, maybe this is a place to take a look. But Iggy, thank you so much for sharing this. And I wanted to make sure I mentioned this to the other listeners on the show, because other folks might find this quite useful as well. So yeah, this one number 2, we work remotely. It's the largest remote community with 4.5 million visitors. That's crazy. Wow. Offers a wide range of remote job opportunities. And they have all of the URLs to the applicable spot. So again, check the show notes. I'll put a link in there that pops you straight on over to this LinkedIn post, so you can get to all of the different ones listed there. I'm not going to list all 15. That's just not going to happen, folks. I'm a little bit lazy. You know what I mean? All right. Now, last thing before we go. This ad. I saw this over the weekend, and it's called Good versus Good. So if I can pop my screen there, hit pause, make that full there. So now it's called Good versus Good.
I really enjoy playing with toilets.
Weird. Let's explain how we got here.
And this is a commercial from the folks Clorox. You know, they make bleach.
Oh my goodness, hello.
Not surprising, but you know what feels even better? Cleaning a toilet.
Really?
For him it did.
That is crazy.
Whoa.
And for these participants, clean felt better than getting a massage, playing video games, and getting their nails done. Rethink what makes you feel good.
I thought that ad was crazy clever because basically the premise was they did some research and did some brain scans on folks to manage how they feel good. And so in this example, petting puppies, you know, was something that makes people feel warm and fuzzy and good on the inside. But then they realized, okay, so what happens when they're scrubbing the toilet? And they said, damn, you feel good scrubbing the toilet.
It feels even better cleaning a toilet.
Really?
For him it did.
That is
And so I scrubbed through this looking for disclaimers because I have seen a lot of these commercials. They put the disclaimers at the bottom in fine white text, and it'll say paid actors use here, something like that. And it's only there for a second. And this one has a pop-up showing maybe twice. And it says based on emotive results. So that's a test. And then there's another one. This one says use as directed based on emotive results. And one more, use as directed based on emotive results. So if you want to dig into emotive, maybe there's some science there, but I thought that was an actually clever bit of marketing because as someone that has cleaned toilets, I know what that feeling is like. And when I was cleaning toilets as a janitor, I didn't necessarily enjoy it, but there is a bit of satisfaction of cleaning the bathroom here. It's a chore. It is a pain in the ass sometimes, but there is some satisfaction that I feel once it's done. And it's probably the same for you. You know, I can actually speak for Queen Pruitt. She will be outside coming in from running an errand or whatever, and she opens the door to come into the apartment here, and she could smell cleaning supplies that either she has been doing or working with or I had been working with previously, and she will almost every single time say, "Oh, I love how that smells," and it just it makes me feel so good. The house is clean, that kind of thing. And it's just that euphoric feeling of clean, fresh. So I like the fact that they, as a marketing team there at Clorox or whoever they hired, Clorox hired for marketing purposes, they channeled that bit of energy that folks have out there. And I see the live chats going on here. So-called research, says John Helm. It might be. I need to look into emotive, EMOTIV, however that was spelled. And then it says, Ingy says, puppies, Uber allies. That's funny. Clean house smells nice. Doing it is another thing, Iggy says. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not. It ain't fun, but it's something about that end results. I thought that was clever. So shout out to Clorox, and I'll link to that commercial in the show notes, and we'll see how fast I get the little copyright notice from them, and I have to dispute it and tell them, yes, I can still use that video for my fair use. There. See, I'm even saying it on air, so it's on record. All right, we'll pause one more quick time before we get out of here. Thank y'all for listening to the show. This is Everyday People Doing Everyday Shit. I'm Ant Pruitt. Stay right there. We'll be right back after this. You have so many options out there when it comes to podcasts. A-list celebrities are talking about whatever it is that they talk about. And I got to tell you, you cannot relate to any of it. Well, let's change that up. Check out a podcast for everyday regular people just like yourself. It's the Everyday People Podcast, hosted by myself, Aunt Pruitt, and co-host Phoebe Pruitt. Check us out on whatever podcast app you enjoy and join in on the conversation for just regular, everyday stuff. You know, check us out. And we're back. I'm Aunt Pruitt, hanging out here on Everyday People Doing Everyday Shit, the wonderful podcast where we just talk about any and everything as regular, everyday people just like you. Before we get out of here, I want to give one quick shout out to my man, Mr. Dave Snyder. Dave Snyder is someone that messaged me. This has been about 4 weeks ago, and they shot me an email through the contact options here on the website. And he sent a very, very kind message and basically said that he had seen the 20th anniversary celebration of Twit TV and saw that the message that I submitted to them to give them their accolades and, you know, and congratulations and just show my appreciation. So he sent the message about that, and, you know, and I told him thanks. And he also mentioned watching my previous photography show and how, you know, he had his own way of getting out there and doing this thing with his camera. And it's not typical by any stretch of the imagination, apparently, but the show kept them going. And I appreciate that support, Mr. Dave. But he also explained that he doesn't shoot the way I would shoot or the way that my man John Helm would shoot here in the chat. He's a quadriplegic. And so he was telling me about his incident, and I'm not going to get into any of those details, but he's been quadriplegic for many, many years, and he has lost a lot of control of his movements, you know, with a few limitations. But what says something about his particular spirit is the fact that he's like, so what? I still want to shoot photography. And so he was telling me about how he goes into setting up his own little rig and whatnot so he can go out and shoot from time to time. And I said, man, I want to hear more. And he said, yeah, I used to have a little video about it. And I said, well, send me the video. I'd like to see it. And when I watched it, it was very, very heartwarming and very inspirational for me when I saw it. And I asked him if I had permission to share said video. So I'm going to link to that video here in the show notes. I'll show you a little clip of it now. So let's see here. We'll do this here and hit that button and let's hit play.
Guitar strap, hippie looking.
So he has a guitar strap here.
Camera straps. Picked up a bunch of these, which I've done.
He puts it around his neck.
On a heck of a time. But most
straps
people
it to
just,
the camera.
You know, take their thumb, flip the switch. But I have to. I go ahead and I stabilize. I'm stabilizing with my left hand under the camera, and then I'll stabilize with my chin. And
see, just for him to turn it on is a bit of a challenge. He has to stabilize with 2 points because he can't move his thumb the way many of us can.
It's actually a little more difficult to do sitting at my desk. So let me back up here.
So I'm going to pass forward just a touch.
So you remember I'm the strap here to detail how I do this.
All right. So now, if you're watching the video, currently he's holding a telephoto lens. And I believe this is a 100 to 400 millimeter telephoto lens, which in layman's terms means this is a big lens. Okay. This isn't a lens that normally comes with the camera when you first buy them. This is a second purchase, a big lens. And again, remember, he has very limited use of his hands and his arms. Like he can only bend at certain points of his wrist, you know. So this lens is big and it is not light, but
I get my left hand pretty much, you know, under the center of gravity.
Yeah.
Depending on the lens. So with this being a longer lens, center of gravity is out a little bit farther. And as you can see, that's pretty stable.
He's holding it stable. He figured out a way to prop his arm on his armrest in his wheelchair and put position his hand up under the lens to where it's not doing a whole bunch of shaking and tilting around and things like that. And when you use one of those telephoto lenses, you can rotate it to make it zoom in and zoom out. And that's a challenge. And he talks a little bit about doing that. And every now and then he can get it to zoom as fast as he wants to, but sometimes it takes him a little bit longer. But let me fast forward to how he actually captures the images.
Especially with some of the other lenses I have, I'll have to put it on my lap and use two hands to adjust the level of zoom. Anyway, once I'm ready to shoot, I have he
has a trigger.
I'll have this in my mouth.
This is a little trigger, a shutter trigger. And he puts it in his mouth. And when he's ready to hit the button, he just bites down.
I miss a lot of photos. I mainly shoot nature. And a lot of times I'll miss photos because I'm fumbling around trying to get the trigger, to get things
and stuff
in
like
my
that.
mouth or set up, what have you. But hey,
but look, I'm pausing it right there. Look at his face. He's smiling. He's happy,
That's life. So anyway, stick it in my mouth.
Aims, lines it up to his eye, and when he sees it, he just bites down on that trigger.
And that's my typical shooting position.
But yeah, that is from Dave Snyder. Thank you for sending that to me. I've already spoken to you previously, but if you were listening to the show, he said he's going to start checking out the show. Thank you for sending that. In the live chat, they concur. Iggy says, that is awesome. That is awesome. She says, oh my God, what a joy. And I miss plenty and I have no excuse. Okay. Iggy, yeah, we all miss a lot of shots. We do. It's the best of us. We miss them. That's just the nature of that game, especially when you're dealing with wildlife, like what he's talking about. Birds don't sit still very long. They don't. And if you're trying to catch them in flight, that takes so many hours of practice to follow a bird flying because they are hauling ass. They are really, really moving. Yeah, Iggy says her Precious failed her today. Oh no, her Precious, folks, that is a camera that she used. She calls that her Precious. It's hilarious, but she takes a lot of bird photos in her backyard. And yeah, it's fun watching her progress because I've seen her get better and better and better over the last couple of years. Because again, she's putting in some work there. So much respect to you. But again, Mr. Dave, thank you for sending that in. And yeah, just keep inspiring folks, my man. And thank you for the kind words you said about me and my family as we made our trek out here from Carolina to crazy ass California. All right, folks, I'm going to call it a show. Thank y'all for being here each and every week. Again, I really do appreciate all the support. There's a couple ways that y'all can support this show and support other creators out there. There's a couple different ways. First is doing all of the algorithmic stuff, hitting those little like buttons and things like that send signals to the platforms. Okay. Then there's the share options. You can share it with someone on those platforms too. They all have some type of share button. So if you see it there, click it and share it with other folks. Then there's another way of sharing is just by flat out telling someone face to face, over the phone, over the text or whatever, say, hey, check out Everyday People. We appreciate that. So just tell them to hop on over and listen here and there, or if it's on YouTube, tell them they can watch too. And then another way is monetarily. If you want to support with your dollars and cents, we appreciate that. Because again, yes, we enjoy doing this, but this is my business. This is my income here. So you can support via super chats or super thanks inside of YouTube, as you've seen here in our live chat, or you can support via Patreon by going to patreon.com/AntPruitt. So that's a way to support the show. I am grateful for either way you choose to support the show. All right. So y'all stay tuned for next week. I got some stuff that I know we'll talk about based on what happens after today. Yeah. So just keep coming back. And as long as you're subscribed and got notifications on, you'll always catch us right when we go on there. All right, everybody, y'all be good, and I shall see you all next time. Be sure to do something good for yourself, do something good for someone else, and know that it's okay to love you some of you. See you later.